Hey y'all, it's your girl Symone. Welcome back to my channel. If y'all can see by the title, today's another story time. Before we get into this video, y'all already know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, give a girl a thumbs up, comment down below. Don't forget to follow me on all my socials, Instagram at Vivalayoshii, TikTok and Twitter at Lifewithsymone. Follow my business pages at Brishari and follow my hair page at Syleire. Also hype this video up if you wanna. Also y'all, Brishari, we're having a 35% off all bags only, not the merch, but we having 35% off all bags. So make sure you go ahead and check out that early Black Friday sale. Okay, so it's a Subbie Sunday. We haven't did this in a while, and I can't do the community spotlight in this video because I literally just recorded earlier. So if you haven't seen my last story time that I posted, I just posted it today. I recorded today and posted today. It was story time. Never trust a bitch she stole from me. Yeah, go watch it. Okay, so let's get into the Subbie Sunday. Y'all, I'm being so productive. Like, I literally, by the time y'all see this, I'll be out of town, but I was like, let me get this content in because why not? Okay, so the first story we're gonna do is an actual story. Then I got some on my NGO links, so we're gonna do back and forth. So let's go with this one. It's titled he tried to get at me in front of his girlfriend, and it says OMO Dada Storytimes. I don't know what that means, but anyway, let's get into it. So it says, hey Symone, I've been a regular listener of your stories since your very first viral story time. You inspired me to start back telling my own stories on my YouTube channel. I'll link that at the end of this. So you can see by the title, this is a story time about this short ass childish belligerent fool decided to get at me in front of his girlfriend. I don't know if this story gonna be long or short, so I'm not gonna say unlike the others that sends short ass stories and calling them long, lol. Ooh, not the shade. I don't know what it is, but whenever I sit down and actually tell the stories, it doesn't seem as good as when I sit down and write it out. I said this because I told the story on my YouTube channel already, and after reading over what I've written in this email, you might like the written version better, but let's get into it. This happened about a year ago around this time. I work at one of the nation's best haunted houses in America. It's based in Memphis, Tennessee. We get all kind of peoples from all over that come just to get scared. I usually work as a scare actor, but this day I arrived late, so they made me do the front desk work. I swear it felt like men decided they were going to irritate me just for fun, and you'll see why. Anyway, the haunted house includes the excursions like an escape room, so that's where they put me to check customers in. It was all going well until this group came in. It was a sister, her brother, and her boyfriend. The way tickets for the escape room works, you could buy a single ticket for one out of the 3 rooms, or you could purchase 1 ticket for all. They had paid for 3 for 1 ticket, and I guided them to each line they needed to be in. They could go in a room and come out, and come to ask me where to go next. And it was confusing the fuck out of me, because you pay for the rooms and you see the signs telling you where to go next. I knew something wasn't right. Anyways, in between the times they'll be coming to ask me where to go next, the brother kept coming up to me asking me questions and flirting. I don't know why I do this, but when someone I'm not interested in come and trying to talk to me, I get mad. So he's talking to me and I'm trying to be nice and say I'm not interested. The man starts getting in my face talking to me. Not in an aggressive way though. He was drunk, so he was in my face flirting, asking for my social every time I go to the next escape room. I kept saying no, he kept persisting. It took everything in me to keep my composure, because another thing that gets me heated are bad smells. His breath was hot and musty, and when I say I thought my nose was about to burn off, moving on. They come to me after they're leaving the last escape room. They again start asking me where they need to go next, and I'm lost. Remember how I said something wasn't right? It turns out these people pay for the wrong thing. Okay, so let me break it down for you. The haunted house I work for has 4 houses. They have one house that's one theme, and then another long ass house and 3 themes in one. All of this was in one big old building. We're one of the haunted houses that is completely indoors. These people went to purchase the 3-in-1 haunted house but bought a 3-in-1 escape room package. At this point, the sister and her boyfriend are frustrated and trying to figure out what to do. I'm nervous because I don't like being put in these type of situations. And the brother is still in my fucking face flirting with me. Like, sir, do you not want me to fix the damn issue? Get your priorities in order. I'm starting to get annoyed, but I stayed calm and called over the manager, and they sort of sorted it out. They allowed him to go through the hunt for free. Now for the part of the story you've been waiting for. The situation got handled, the night is going smoothly as usual. This boy comes up to me, he was either drunk or high, I don't know, but he was obviously under some type of influence. I'm sitting at my desk on my phone and looking around at the crowds. He come up and leans on the desk and start flirting with me. I'm not too bothered by it because he was okay looking, but I wasn't interested really. He was talking to me and he asked for my number. I don't give out my number to nobody, so I tell him that he can have my IG, and he gives me this look like, girl. He's still talking to me. I'm kind of over it at this point. Out of the corner of my eye, I see this girl walking up. So I ignore him and I turn my attention to her. I'm talking to her, trying to see if she's trying to check in to get the escape room. Then he says to me, nah, she's with me, and gets up off the table and walk away. Then she started walking behind him slowly and looking between the two of us. And that's where I'll stop this story. If you want to get the rest of the story, you can find it on my YouTube channel, Omo Dada. It's titled, He Tries to Get at Me in Front of His Girlfriend. Was this story interesting? Like I said, I'm trying to get back into telling my stories, so I don't know if they sound good or not. Any advice you could give me on becoming a better storyteller, I'll take it. Thank you for reading this. I'll be sure to send more stories if I have any. Also, by the way, my name is Christine, and I love you, girl. And I love you, girl. And then she told me a part to not stay out loud. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing. I want to say, if you feel like your stories are better when you write them down versus when you start telling them, I would say like something to you is write your stories down before you tell them. So that could be easier. If you feel like you could write out and get more details better than do that before you sit down and record, like just write it out and then you could either read it or, you know, just go over it and read it. I think if that makes it easier for you, then I would say go for it and do it like that. You can go ahead and plug yourself down below. Just comment and let people know that you're the first story so they could be able to find you on here. But yeah, girl, just do it like that. I most definitely say to do it like that if that's going to be an easier way for you. And thank you so much for sharing. All right, you guys, so let's do some of the short stories on the NGL. I'm mad because I feel like the camera is too high up, but my tripod is tripping, so I don't even want to adjust it. But anyway, let's do some NGLs and then we'll go back to the emails. So this one is titled, I had phone SEX with the plug, please read. By the way, I love you so much. Okay, so it's this plug, let's call him T. He lives up the street from me and always used to flirt with me, but I ignored it because I had a ninja at the time. So when we broke up, he started trying harder. So we were starting to get on the phone and he kept fiending. And so I set up the phone and he was directing me on what to do. And I felt so uncomfortable and cut it short. He was stroking his and didn't even get to finish. And he was so mad. But I had to stop before I started crying. So I tell him I felt uncomfortable with it and didn't want to ruin our friendship. And he understood. And sometimes he still be asking me, but I be telling his ass no. And I still cop from him and be seeing him. And me and him agreed to never speak on it. Girl, what? I'm confused. Why? Never mind. I'm confused though, but that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, so I don't know, like it seems like this man, this is what, I don't know, you didn't really say this, but it seems like he's way too old to be talking to you. That's what it's giving, like you're younger and way younger than him and he way too old to be talking to you. That's what I got off of that. Okay, so let's get into another one. 2 weeks ago, my friend asked me if I wanted to have a threesome with her and her boyfriend. When I said no, she asked me if I found her man fine and said I could F him by myself and she wouldn't give a fuck. Next day, she apologized and said she was high on coke and it was laced with other stuff. What? That's crazy. And no, it wasn't. She just said some weird shit to you. That's weird. Very weird. Okay, another one. Confessions. I don't know how to be loyal. No matter how in love I am or how good a guy is treating me, I just have to have a plan B always on standby. And not from a distance. Me and my plan B are constantly talking LOL. He be knowing that he's a plan B, but I don't know. I just can't get rid of him. Girl, break up with your man. Keep the plan B. And break up with your man and just be single and talk to whoever you want to talk to. Stop wasting that boy time. Like, stop wasting your boyfriend time because at the end of the day, if he was doing that to you, you would feel away. So I feel like stop wasting his time. Stop wasting whoever's time. If you know you can't be in a relationship, then that's fine, but just be true to yourself. I feel like the problem is when people get in relationships knowing that they can't be in one and then they cheat. Now, that's the issue. But if you're true to yourself and you're just single and you letting it be known that you're dealing with multiple people, then you're being real and honest with people. But to waste people's time and be messing around with other people, that's not okay because it's so much stuff that could happen. Like, there's diseases, of course, that. And then also, do y'all not watch these true crimes? Like, do y'all not watch these be passion crimes that happen because somebody playing with somebody's head? And yeah, all of that shit is not worth it. So it's like, be single, stop wasting people's time and playing with them, and just live your best life if that's what you choose to do. Let's do another NGL and then we'll go on to another story. So this one is, my ex-bestie fell out with me because she slept with my brother on my B-Day night, got pregnant afterwards, aborted mission, and somehow I got blamed for being a bad friend to her. We've been best friends for over 15 years. I'm still hurt to this day. Dang, I think maybe it's some loose holes in there. Like, to you, it's you slept with my brother, you got pregnant, you got rid of it, and now I'm a bad friend. I think maybe it was some things that you probably are overlooking that she probably discussed with you or told you, or, you know, I don't know how long ago this happened, but I feel like you should have talked to her and see where she was coming from. Why do you feel like I'm a bad friend? Was it something you told me and I just said, hey, I'm not getting in that? Or what was the case? Like, let me know what it was that I did, because sometimes I feel like we overlook stuff. You'll think like, oh, I don't see I did nothing wrong. But just because you don't feel like you did anything wrong, that doesn't mean you didn't do anything to hurt somebody else. You know, just because it wouldn't hurt you or you feel like it shouldn't hurt them, that don't mean it don't hurt them. So I feel like if it still hurts you, if you feel like it's a conversation that you could have, then most definitely reach out to her and see like, hey, where did I go wrong in the friendship? Like, where did I go wrong in that situation where you feel like you didn't want to deal with me no more? Because 15 years is a long time. So I feel like it has been something that was at that point. So most definitely, I feel like that's your friend, you love her, then go ahead and reach out. It do not hurt to do that. Okay, confession. I messed around with my supervisor and now we aren't messing around anymore. He messing / secretly dating a girl at work and I still want to mess with him. He kind of flirts sometimes and I feel bad because I can't stop. I'm actually in love with him and he knows this. Hard to work with him because I want him. Ooh, I remember we had something like this before, and I think I told y'all to stop dating people at work because they don't really want you. Yeah, some people could find love at work, but I wouldn't even want to find love at work, and this is the reason why. Because 9 times out of 10, this ain't your first rodeo. So say, okay, we find love. I always got to take stuff too far. But say we find love, I get pregnant, I go on maternity leave, and you with somebody else at the job. Clearly, you get bored, and you close at work. Because it be 9 times out of 10, a lot of these people be having work wives and having somebody at home. What? If you get bored at work and have to talk to somebody, you're not my type. But I feel like let it go, because if it's not you, it's gonna be somebody else like it is old girl. And if it's not old girl, it's gonna be somebody else. Like, this is just his thing, and don't waste your time with that. All right, so let's get into the next story in the emails, and it is titled Polly with a Felon. Ooh. Please keep anonymous. Hi Symone, I really love your YouTube and the success that you have gotten over the years that I've been watching you. Thank you. I watch every one of your videos and I relate to you so much. This story time is about how I was manipulated into being in a poly relationship and ended up finding out that he was an ex offender at the age of 21. Just so you know, this story is pretty long because I feel as though stories are more interesting and better if I state all the details. That's true. We love a good details, but tell us, please. Okay. So I met this guy through a social media dating app, and for the sake of this story, we'll call him Q. Me and Q kicked it off instantly. He came in my DM and was super flirty and stated that he would follow my Instagram. Soon enough, we were texting and FaceTiming, but one day we were on FaceTime while he was working as a forklifter, and he said something that instantly turned me off of him. It was back in October of last spring while I was in college in another state. I don't remember what exactly it was, but I just know that something was completely off about him. Fast forward to the summer of before the beginning of my junior year. I just ended a situationship and was pretty hurt and chose to heal and just work on focus on myself for the summer, until one night I wake up and I see a notification from a username that looked familiar. Yes, at this time I unfollowed him and didn't notice that he was still following me after all these months, until he texted me asking if his number was still saved. At first I was a little skeptical because it was so random. I went to check his page and I looked at his story and fell into the trap. How could I not? He was a 6-foot brown-skinned man with beautiful long dreads with tattoos and light brown eyes, and his smile was to die for. Immediately, I got the energy to text him back. A few days passes and everything is smooth. We were soon talking on the phone. I stated to him that I was still going to college out of state. He says to me that he can't do long distance, and for it to work, he would want me near him. I was genuinely confused because when I spoke to him in the spring, I didn't recall him saying this, but I understood and brought up that I didn't think about doing online. Anyways, one day we were texting and I get the random urge to ask him some questions. And one of those questions were, do you have any kids? He immediately says that he has 2 kids at the age of 21, 2 different baby mothers. As I was trying to learn more about everything else, he gets really defensive and said that he's going to be really upset if I continue to ask him questions. So for the sake of one in peace, I stopped asking him questions. The following day after, he hits me up asking if I wanted to come see him, and I state that yes, that I do. I soon find out that he is in an area 40 minutes away from me. He then says that he will Uber me to him, but expects me to pay for my way back. I immediately tell him that I'm not going for that, especially if this is our first time meeting. I forgot to mention that he stated to me that he didn't have money to take me on a date. So the plan eventually fails. The second day rolls around and he asked me if I could come hang out with him and his friends along with 4 other people and drink and spend the night. I declined that too. This is because it was after hours. He was telling me this and staying the night and drinking with him, and I didn't really know him. Instantly blew me. He continued to try to convince me to come, and it didn't end up happening. Lastly, the final time actually fell through. I felt as though because he was trying so hard to see me that I should just go with it. He sent the Uber and he paid for both ways, for there and back. When I get there, the setup is super nice. I like the way that everything was out together. I came in and sat on his couch, and for the first time I found out so many things I didn't know. For one, when I came in, he had me streaming on his YouTube channel, and he was a music artist. For about an hour, we spent time talking on stream. You could tell the vibes were a little off. He had a very weird personality. He was really rude and had a demanding, you know what to do type of vibe. The first weird encounter was when he stood up on his stream and he grabbed my ass. I reached back and moved it and told him that everything was moving too soon. Eventually, next thing I know, we were in his studio vibing, and we ended up sleeping together. Us sleeping together was not necessarily because I wanted to, but because he tried over and over with his advances. It's not that I didn't want to at all. It's just that even though we talked in the past, I still feel like this was moving too soon. Anyways, I still end up staying and listening to his music, and suddenly his ringer starts to go off. I look up and there is a girl, in which we'll call her Hope, blowing up his phone. She came in and asked for his phone to play music, which I thought was odd. Once she took his phone, I sat down and huge regrets started assuming that this woman that had just walked past to go to the bathroom earlier in his apartment could possibly be someone he was involved with. I immediately sat down and tried to avoid talking about it, but he closed the door and he ended up saying to me that this girl was a childhood friend, and that because he'd known her for so long, he gave her a place to stay because she had nowhere to go, that there is no other woman to be worried about. As dumb as I was, I listened to him, though I was a little skeptical about the story, but he kept reassuring me that there was nothing wrong. Later that night, he ends up sending me an Uber back home. On the way back home, I contemplated on if I should keep talking to him or not, but ended up gaslighting myself in the stand and that I'm making too many assumptions too soon. A day passes by and things started to get weird. I sent him a voice note about my day that he asked for, and hours went by and no response. I ended up double texting and saying, you must be with a hoe, in which he responds with, I'm not with a hoe, but I'm with a girl. This immediately blew me. The audacity. We was just with each other and he said something completely different. He texts me and tells me to calm down and ends up FaceTiming me. He ends up saying that he's not looking for another woman ever since he found me. In so much shock, I hung up in his face. Next thing I knew, for the rest of the day, we was back and forth arguing. I told him that he should have told me that the day he kept pushing for us to have sex. He continued to say that there really isn't no other woman to be worried about, and stated that he wanted a bi woman. I expressed to him that I am bi, but does not mean I want to share him with another woman. He immediately starts calling me biased and saying that I'm stuck up. We get on the phone and I try to tell him if that's what he wanted, he should have said that before we had intercourse. He ends up telling me that he's not caring, that I should leave it alone. I ended off the phone call in such confusion and anger and cried my eyes for a good minute. He continues to text, and he starts texting me saying that he never meant to hurt my feelings. I know, quite pathetic. It only took him to say he cared about my feelings for me to feel like maybe we could work things out. Not only that, me being a very sensitive and emotional person, because I had already given my body to him. I didn't want to just separate. I wanted to see whatever it was or what it could become could be worked on. So I pushed a blind eye to my broken heart that instilled in me. But what comes next is really what pushes me over the edge. As said before, the argument that we had ended up to me agreeing to a triad. So the next day was supposed to include me, him, and his friends. The plan that we was going to go to a water park and then kick and chill for drinks. His friends ended up picking me up at my apartment, and on the way next door to my apartment was the gas station. However, when we arrived, immediately the vibes were already weird. I looked over and she was holding hands with him as she stood outside the door. Not only that, before I did my makeup and wore a pretty dress, and he never complimented me. But when we were there, he was communicating with her way more than me. Furthermore, he continued to drive on the way to his house, and it continued. He was talking to me, but not so much. Once we got to the house, we sat there along with his friend's girlfriend, and they left for an hour. I'm assuming the purpose of that was to spark a conversation with me and her. She did speak, asking if I wanted anything to eat, but outside of that, she barely spoke to me. Not to mention, while we were in the car, he kept saying be nice to her. She never greeted me or said anything to me while we were in the car, and we were sitting opposite sides from each other. Anyways, me and the girl sat there and watched the movie. As I sat there, I was genuinely confused on how I got myself into this mess. Eventually, we all make the consecutive decision to go to the park and buy our Four Locos and just have fun. Here's the kicker. As we were trying to fit into the car and his nephews get out on the other side, he asked me if I want to hold the nephew as the girl sits on his lap. This threw my mood completely, to the point where my chest sunk to my ass. The audacity. She didn't even have to sit on him. I just could have been holding one of his nephews and me and the girl sit next to each other. I wondered, did he know that it would make me feel uncomfortable? Anyways, while we were in the car, he noticed my energy shift and he tries to kiss me and grab my throat. I move away from him. He just stopped at the gas station to get drinks and snacks. When we finally get to the park, my whole night was ruined. Instead of talking to his homeboy's girlfriend, she was extremely sweet. And when I looked up, she was spending the most time with her. It happened continuously throughout the night. I kept sipping on my drink. It was making me more emotional the more I continued to drink. In a group moved to the other side of the park and sat on a bench. Started kicking and I start to feel better. When he comes up to me, he tries to talk to me, but then he quickly moves and sit on the other side to talk to her. That's when I immediately get up and walk away, and he tries to put me back down to sit at the table, but I kept walking. As I'm walking, I hear him calling my name and saying that I need to come back. I ignored it because I felt humiliated. All of this to please a man, and I'm in this mess and he wanted me first, right? Crazy. He catches up to me and say that you could come to the car if you want. I follow him to the car, and I immediately tell him that you're not paying attention to me, and the craziest come out of his mouth. He said we already have a bond and I have to give him a chance to grow with me. He promised me that when we get back to his house, he would give me all the attention I wanted. Then I stayed in the car because I was still a little sensitive and wanted to wait before I could come out again. This immediately blew me. How could you say that I will have to wait when you tried 4 times to see me this week? You want me to wait? To calm myself down, I started recording a video talking about the situation to possibly send to my best friend while I'm drunk. He is still standing outside the window. At the end, he reaches in with full force and slapped my phone out of my hand. I have no clue why he did that. He ended up driving back and somehow we made up. The girl was still in the same space and we started kissing, and I didn't recall what happened, but we started beefing again. And he kept grabbing my face, so I went to grab his and he aggressively grabbed my hand and held it tightly to the point where it was hurting. I didn't understand why I was being treated this way. I began to cry silently, and he looked over and said my name and wanted to talk to me, and I kept pushing his advances. Finally, we arrived to his house, and as we make it in, he choked the F out of me, and which really scared me. And his other girlfriend and I began to break down, expressing my frustration. Just so you know, during all of this, the other girl did not comment or say anything while all of this was going on. Somehow we ended up having sex. Even though part of me did not want to, I was just intoxicated, and it was in a moment sort of thing because I felt really down because of what happened. While I was drunk, he was giving the most soft affection love when it was just us to calm me down from crying. The next morning, I woke up and I felt disgusted. I was still drunk and felt though I wanted to throw up and was regretting so much. I went to the living room to find him on the couch, and he tried to understand why I was upset, and I ignored him before I left. He tried to give me a hug and I rejected it. You would have thought that I left him alone then, but unfortunately it didn't stop here. When I went home, I sent a long paragraph about how I'm never talking to him again. He responded with a paragraph basically putting all the blame on me. Days went by and I started to feel as though maybe things weren't so bad and maybe I should forgive him and that I was in the wrong. I immediately texted him saying that we should start over, and I apologized. I made him feel away. He told me that if I could make my way over there, he would see if we could work things out. He even apologized. I ended up telling him that I would come between that time and Wednesday. He agreed. Times go by and I start searching for a new job because I worked at a restaurant that didn't give me much time, and I ended up finding a warehouse job. And when that following Tuesday came, I said that I would be there. He texts me back and says, when's your next off day? I'm telling him I'm not moving today and I'm coming that day because I work and I can't just change things up at last minute. Not only that, the girl that he was dating had done it too much like me, and part of me coming was for me and the girl to reconcile. All of us come up with something so we could all be in good relationships. I booked an Uber to his house around 7 p.m. and updated him while I was on the way. He mentioned to me that he was very tired, so didn't expect too much, but he was still going to communicate with me. I get there, he tells me to knock so that Hope, the second girlfriend, could come and open the door. She in fact comes to the door, asks who it is, but never opens the door. He comes and opens and sits on the couch. Next thing I know, they were arguing and she gets so upset that I was there. He comes out from the room, sit next to me, and says that she is upset. Proceeds to say, upset with who? Because I didn't do anything to her. She said that she's upset because she feels although nobody told her I was coming and I just popped up. I was confused. He told me that if I came, everything would be okay because we were going to work on what we had anyways. We ended up having a meeting and he places all the blame on me. Not only that, he told me that all these things the girl said about me, when we met up, she had nothing to say to me. They end up having a separate argument and start arguing really bad to the point that he starts yelling. Eventually, we ended up cool again until Q starts trying to force me to have sex with him and her. I didn't know what it was, but my entire energy was separated from him. It didn't feel the same. He tried to kiss me and I didn't go for it. When I didn't go for his advances, he forcefully started to put me in positions and aggressively attempted to remove my clothes. He was not taking no for an answer. I expressed to him that I'm not mad, but I'm just not in the mood. When I left the room, he ended up leaving and not talking to me. He also started being weird on trying to get me back home. I was waiting for help with the Uber. He was in the other room having sex. So previously before that, I felt like I had to get with him for him to send me back home. Though I had the money, my Lyft account wasn't working because my number was messed up and I couldn't fix it. I told him through my friends and sent him money, and it was past midnight and my friends couldn't help me. I ended up getting home because he finally gets me an Uber, but he asked for half the price. He hugged me and said, see you sometime. On the drive back, I was extremely paranoid and hysterical and emotional. Prayed that God help me. That night, I got the random urge to do a background report. I previously tried to do on him, but couldn't because I didn't know his last name. But I ended up searching up his phone number and his entire criminal history came up. I found that out that he was a registered ex-offender and a convicted felon in the state of North Carolina. Everything started to make sense and fall into place. It all made sense to why he couldn't see his children and why he kept cash on hand. He told me other charges except for this one, which was confirmed. I was extremely disgusted. I didn't tell him I knew, and he gaslit me. If you think I'm guilty, then the answer is no. And the fact that you would go this length to throw dirt on me is crazy, and I don't need no negativity around me. The crazy part is that the victim was only 11 years old. I messaged the other girl and told her that's why I left, in case he lies about the reason. I sent proof of the records, and I was blocked after. I assume they're still together. More of the story, trust your intuition. Girl! First and foremost, I want to say I'm happy you out that situation. Second, I want to say, girl, don't ever be in no motherfucking situation like that again. I'm not judging you because stuff do happen and you say you was young, you was in college, whatever, but excuse me, never again. I feel like it's always best whenever you date anybody, ladies, to all my ladies out there, whenever you date anybody, look them up. Look up that number, go on Megan's Law, check them out, see what they got going on, because you just never know. The way somebody look does not determine who they are, because a lot of times we'll look at people and you feel like, oh, this or that. No, no. But I do want to say I'm happy you out of that. That is crazy, and it's sad that the girl blocked you. The girl probably knew all along. Most definitely, he said she was from his childhood. She know, and she did not care. And it's sad because there's really some disgusting ass women like that in this world that would not care, and they'll just try to blame the child, like, oh, this child did this or da da da. She was fast. No, I don't care how fast you say a child is. The adult knows right from wrong. You are the adult, you know right from wrong. Period. Like, that's so weird. But thank you so much for sharing, girl. Y'all, that's the last story. That one was real long, so that's it. I ain't gonna do no more NGLs. I want to be able to edit this because I'm not taking this with me on vacation. No. So I gotta be able to do everything. But that was it for this story time. I love you guys so much. I'll see y'all in my next one. Peace out.